Hey there! Coming up next on Ham Nation, something that a lot of novices started their ham radio careers with is coming back. Bob has information on that. We'll have Smoke and Solder with a cool little Scope Squid. Dale's going to be in with some pictures from Winter Field Day and a whole bunch of other stuff, and it's a jam-packed show, and we're glad you're here to watch it. That's coming up next, right here on Ham Nation.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of Ham Nation is brought to you by LDG Electronics. LDG Electronics provides state-of-the-art automatic antenna tuners and related products for every amateur need. Visit ldgelectronics.com to learn more. By Hover. Register a domain name and build your online brand with Hover. Visit hover.com/twit to get 10% off your first purchase of any domain extension for the entire first year. And by ICOM. For more information, visit icomamerica.com/hamnation.
This is Ham Nation, episode number 392 for March 6th, 2019. AMECO is back.
Hello, everybody. Bob Heil, K9EID, and we're in Fairview Heights, Illinois. If I stand on top of our assembly plant, I can see the arch of downtown St. Louis. We're about 12 miles away. And so that's where we are this evening, and I'm glad that you are here. We have a great show tonight, really, really good. It always is, but they're just sometimes special things. And Dale has got a really neat bunch of pictures that you guys and gals have sent in. We don't have the lady with us because she's not feeling well. She caught the crud, probably got it from Jeff, so I want to kind of tell you. Anyway, she will not be here. However, Valerie is down in the islands, and she's supposed to be on 20 meters tonight, so you might want to look for her. And I think her call is VF2VH. I'm pretty sure that's the call she's using. But anyway, you can look for the gal on 20 meters. She'll be back here next week, and everything else is cooking. George is here with a soldering iron. And Don's got here, and he's going to tell us about a brand new sponsor. And we're really happy about that. Let's go see who they all are. Gordo, you're here from Southern Cal. Is that correct? Nice necklace.
We are here from Southern California, finished with my Hamfest travels. But, this coming Saturday, the Arizona Science Center, sponsored by the Thunderbird in Scottsdale, Arizona Amateur Radio Clubs, is holding their day 2 of their 2 Saturday class for new ham radio operators. We need more hams. Also, March 9th, Saturday, the Lincoln, Nebraska Amateur Radio Club making things happen up in Lincoln. Stay warm up there. And a week after next, Saturday, March 16th, the Sierra Foothills Amateur Radio Club up in Central California having a great little ham fest. We need more ham fest. We need more kids. Bob, back to you.
Yeah. Absolutely. We got some things happening. I'm getting some nice letters. We'll have some of them on here in coming weeks. George, how are you doing? Are you fixing things in the cold, or what's up down there in Mississippi?
Well, I've been building things in the cold. Unfortunately, fortunately, nothing has broke so far this week. So I've been taking the time to work on a couple of projects in the shop, and well, hopefully they'll make life a little easier in the future. Tonight, we've got a project we're going to look at that it's a piece of test equipment, or actually in addition to a piece of test equipment, since I've been talking about test equipment lately. And this is a project that my friend Mike, VE3MIC, helped put together. He actually got all the parts. I just put them together. And boy, it'll tell you a little bit about stuff you didn't already know.
All right. All right. We'll be back to you for some of that. And now, Don, good old Don. You've been taking part in all of these celebrations in New Orleans, Don? What are you doing?
In Mardi Gras? No, I did not. I didn't go to a single Mardi Gras parade this year. First year in several that we didn't really boycott it. They just never got the opportunity. My wife's been working a lot of nights here lately. In fact, she's working now. She should be getting off work in about 10 minutes as I look at the clock right now. So about the time we get done here, she'll be home, I would assume. So no Mardi Gras for us. And today is Ash Wednesday, so it's the first day of Lent. And started a new diet today. I've gained a little bit of weight, more than I'm comfortable with. So we're getting serious back on that. And we got a new sponsor tonight, LDG Tuners, coming on board tonight. We've got the solar update from Dr. T. And also, you were on WTWW last night, as I recall. That was kind of cool. 5085, the big 100,000 watt signal, and 15.810. If you've got something that you'd like to tell the folks at WTWW, it's very simple. Their email address is email@WTWW.us. They love to hear signal reports. They love to hear ham radio related stuff that they can pass along. If you've got club news or personal news or whatever, you just want to tell them about it. They'll, if it's of interest to radio amateurs, they will send that along. And all kinds of good programming on WTWW. And we do appreciate the folks over there, Bob.
All right. We'll be looking forward to the words about LDG. Remember last week we had the guys on the AM side of things, and Steve had a picture of his station, and it's just incredible. All the stuff's homebrew. Well, he posted a picture on the AM phone. Now, you want to go look at AM phone, Phone, of a project that he had. And I asked him if I could show this, and he said, yeah, go ahead. Now, let me preface this. Steve is an incredible engineer. He builds a lot of really beautiful stuff, including a Class E AM transmitter that he sells, and a mod monitor, and really good things. I'm going to have him on here in a couple of weeks to answer this. But let me show you the kind of stuff that we do. This is not a joke. This is his Class E when he was building it. And he had it on the air for quite a few months, and it really sounded great. What I noticed, he's got the final coil coupled down with some clip leads. I like that, George. And it worked. And I keep telling you guys all the time, when you build stuff, don't look at it and laugh. Make it work. Just put it on the air and see what happens. And that's exactly what Steve did. But this is how he started his design. And I'll have him on here again to show you what happened to this when it got all into production. But this is the way we start things. It's incredible, and he's an incredible builder, and I'm very happy to have him on the show, and we'll get some more insight from Steve. He's quite a guy. WA1QIX. You go listen about 3870 to 3890 in that AM window. You'll find him and a whole bunch of other guys. Well, I have a project. A lot of people are saying, what are we going to do next? Well, I got it right here. And what I got was a box. And this box came from a fellow, and I met him at Dayton. And what he's doing is he is reproducing a 1957 transmitter, the AT1. Anybody remember that? You've been around. And you did. This was a very popular transmitter for all of us new novices. And it was just a wonderful thing. You had to build it. And AMECO came out with that back in '57. Well, here's the website of the new one. And this is an amazing little thing. I'm so happy. Kos sent this to me. He's from Bulgaria. He lives in Illinois now, but he reproed this. He went out and got the name and the trademark, I imagine, But look at the stuff, and it's really good. So you want to go to their website and check it all out. It's just I'm all right. It's the new AMECO, AMECO, the new AMECO. And that's what you will find is all of these great things. But what's so cool about it is the way they packaged it and the way they did it. The chassis is all beautifully painted. Those decals you put on, and you have to build it. And we're going to start doing that here on the show. And here, I'll show you a couple of things. When you open that box, this is what you see. It's all very nicely packaged, and the instructions and all that. But what I really compliment him for is he takes every part and he labels it. So if you have trouble reading the codes of the capacitors and stuff, don't have to worry about that. He's got them all spelled out for you. He even went down as far as each resistor. That's R3. We don't care what the value is. That's R3. And the schematic and the diagrams are all wonderfully done. We'll show you some of that. I thought this was a kick. He even put the crystal. And crystal, this one is on 7.055. But he put the crystal in a bag. But guess what, boys and girls? Guess what? It's got red chicken heads. Yes, I love it. Red chicken heads. That was not on the original. But I'm having really a fun time getting things all sorted out. And I want to help you build along, but I want to give you a couple of weeks to get on the site, maybe get your own kit from them. Here's all the parts laid out after I get it out of the box and so on. That's what it looks like with all the bags and things as I showed you. So hats off to these guys because they did a beautiful job in making it all happen. So we're really thrilled that we're going to be able to have another building project here. So stand by and we'll see what happens next. And that's pretty much what I have. I probably should do one other thing for you. I have it all hooked up. I've had a lot of people send me emails. What about, I'm going to take you on a ride here for a minute. What about if I let you hear a really great demonstration of this new product that we are really touting? There we go. And its sales are going very well. Why do we need it? Well, we need it because none of our receivers have equalization. And I have a really great demo. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play this for you. It's only a couple minutes long. The first track is a DX station, and he's hard to copy because he doesn't have any 2.5K in the mid-range. The receiver does not hear that, or the receiver didn't, and he wasn't transmitting it very well. Check it out. Here we go. This is a recording of this station. What we're going to do, we're going to punch up the mid-range. There it is flat again. It's a hard time understanding. Not if we do that. There it is flat, the way you hear it now without EQ. And all we're playing with is the parametric mid, being able to change the parameters of that filter. And normal EQs, you can't do it. Here's an MC50, flat, mushy MC50.
They gave me 5
We're going to
years
give it life.
But I was basically starting at the bottom. So many times people who spend 10, 20 years in the Navy or whatever.
There it is, back the way you hear it.
And retire. People say, well, you got it made. No, you don't. They were nice enough in my county, which was the
back to
worst,
flat.
by the way, paid in the area. They gave me 5 years seniority.
We're going to punch him up.
But I was basically starting at the bottom. So many times people who spend 10, 20 years
the magic
in the
button
Navy or whatever the military is and retire, people say, well, you got it made. No, you don't.
The next one's great. It's a D104. Nothing under 600 cycles.
I thought, well, I wonder if I can
We can go over here and add some bass.
At about 30 words a minute, and so
make a real signal.
I speeded up the tape, and sure enough, I can copy it.
There he is, back to flat.
A lot of fun the other night.
In your face.
I thought, well, I wonder if I can copy that at about 30 words a minute.
Smooth him out a little bit.
I speeded up the tape, and sure enough, I can copy it.
All good stuff. And I'm really excited because we all need this. And the speaker is amazing, and we'll get into it later. But I've had a lot of people say, let us hear that. Well, you just heard it. There's 2 headphone amps, not 1, but 2, for a logger and an operator. And if you have a hearing imbalance, you put the left speaker of your headset here, the right speaker here, and you can have different levels on each headset. It's really cool. The middle one, this guy, is a record out. That's how I recorded that from my receiver. Set my receiver just flat like all of the other receivers, no EQ. Come out of there and did a recording on my digital recorder. So there you go. And we're very excited because nobody's ever done this before, and we all need it. And it's taken me a long time to do this, a couple of years. But you'll be hearing more and more about it. But there, I answered it for you guys and gals that's been asking me. So there you go. What we got to do now is go talk about a really great new product. And we're so proud to have LDG join the sponsors here on the TWIT network. Let's hear from Don Wilbanks all about LDG.
In this episode of Ham Nation, brought to you by LDG Electronics. This is their debut here on Ham Nation, and you know about LDG. They make state-of-the-art automatic antenna tuners for every amateur need from QRP to QRO. Fixed stations, portable, and remote. An LDG tuner will match your radio to your antenna using their lightning-fast proprietary tuning algorithms. I want you to check out the LDG AT1000 Pro 2. That is the flagship automatic antenna tuner from LDG. It's made for QRO hams. That is high power. It'll handle 1,000-watt sideband or 500 watts FM and digital. You can tune it from 1.8 to 54 megahertz continuously. That is, of course, 160 to 6. You can match Yagis, dipoles, inverted Vs, slopers, virtually any coax-fed antenna from 6 to 1,000 ohms impedance. Tuning time, it's under 10 seconds. Memory tuning is under 0.2 of 1 second. 0.2 seconds. Has a large, easy-to-read bar graph watt meter with 2 selectable ranges. Dual antenna switch with 2,000 memories for each position. This is a seriously nice unit. And LDG is a family-owned and operated company dedicated to bringing innovative quality products to the amateur market. The focus is on anticipating and meeting your needs and providing you with world-class support that is literally just a phone call or an email away. And all of the LDG tuners carry a full 2-year warranty, and it's fully transferable. So if you ever sell or give away your LDG tuner, and boy, that'd be a lucky guy to get an LDG tuner for free, huh? If you ever decide to sell or give it away to another ham, your LDG tuner, the remainder of the warranty goes with it. Free return shipping on all warranty repairs as well. All LDG products, including balance and cables, are available for purchase through select retailers, and I believe you'll find that in our friends DX Engineering. It's in that catalog and a whole bunch more, too. So I want you to check out which automatic tuner is right for you and go to ldgelectronics.com to learn more. LDG Electronics, and we thank them for their support of Ham Nation. Welcome to the family, LDG. We're proud to have you here on Ham Nation. Let's go check out and see what Gordo's got up his sleeve. I bet he knows. Gordo can even spell LDG.
I live with LDG tuners on Christmas Island, Tango 32. Golf Whiskey was my call sign. And once or twice a year, we get down there and help maintain the clinic HF radio system, the VHF radio system, the mesh network, all happening on an impoverished island south of Hawaii called Christmas Island. And I've gone through so many tuners down there, it was only until we started bringing aboard the 100s from LDG, they continue to tune up reliably. The moist air doesn't seem to get them, and I can't say enough nice things about LDG. Hey, enough nice things about the International Space Station. Of course, that's their challenge coin, but they have a new challenge, and that is, how would you like to have an 890 from Kenwood with all of the astronaut signatures on it, or maybe a full set, the many volumes of the new ARRL handbook? Well, from Rosalie, she says they're going to have a world auction sponsored by ARISS, thanks to all the hard work that Kenwood does in donating the gear for the International Space Station. By the way, in working the International Space Station with the D-72, make sure that you've got receive on VFO-A and your transmitters on VFO-B. Clint, the work-sat guy, says that the B side of the Kenwood is not quite as sensitive as the A side for working satellites. So there you go. That came from the main man for those with the Kenwood D-72. Well, tonight we're going to talk about illumination. And one of the first forms of very strange illumination looked like this flexible stuff called, wait a minute, let me get her going here, electroluminescence. And you can see that electroluminescence is flexible, and I'll turn it down just a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. But the EL is a wonderful way of providing a good amount of light. Now, this was long before the light-emitting diode strips came along. Well, the ELs are wonderful except for one thing. The EL strip, when you put it on the side of a vehicle or on a remote ham station out in a shed that gets a lot of moisture in it, the EL generates 600 volts for the power supply that drives the electroluminescence, and it does not like getting moisture. 600 volts is not a lot of current, and it just simply shuts down. So I had to find something else for the communications van that would give me a lot of light, but light where I needed it. And, of course, that's where the light-emitting diodes, and this comes from Wired Electronics, or Wired Com, Roger and Kim's operation. And if we could, let's take a look and see what's happening lately with light-emitting diodes on a strip. So if we could, Victor, let's go for the first one. They're not terribly expensive. Yeah, if you go direct with China, you can get them for like $12, sometimes even $9.95 for about an 18-foot strip. But you want to get one that is absolutely waterproof, submersible, if you plan to put it on a vehicle. So just getting a reel of the LEDs, it's not enough. You need to do a little bit of homework, and we're going to make that homework easy for you. First of all, if you're looking for a real bright LED strip like the one I just showed you, then you need to be sure and tell whomever you're buying it from. And WiredCo, W-I-R-E-D-C-O, that's Roger and Kim's operation. You see them at all the ham shows, including the upcoming HamNation in Xenia, Ohio, coming up a couple months away. And boy, they're making good progress on getting that really decked out this year. You can either bring it in a cool white, or you can have colors, or you can bring it in as a fairly bright white. There's the submersible one below, and there's the non-submersible one above. But that non-submersible one has its place, and let me tell you why. Notice that the one on the bottom is just bright in all directions, but the one on the top is bright in only the downward direction, or I've got it reversed here. Now it's pointing up. This way you're not going to be blinded if you're trying to light something below it or above it. And it does a wonderful job of casting the LED lights down with not much coming straight out to blind you if it's right on your equipment. Well, it was a little still too bright. So what I found was a little bit of red. Well, if you can find an all-red LED strip that will meet the bill and only shine in one direction, there you go. But just borrow your YL, or YL, borrow the OM's nail polish, a little red nail polish, not all the way over the LEDs, and now you've subdued the light, so the white part of the light is going straight down on your radio equipment. Notice on the left, the Coast Guard auxiliary radio system has the built-in LEDs. Can't even see them, and they're doing a good job of lighting up the face of the radios. And on the right-hand side, yeah, it's pretty blinding. He needs to get out that red nail polish and do their things. Here at the shack, I've got them going in the downward position, and it's quite nice for just illuminating what I want to illuminate. And next week or week after next, we'll talk about ways to dim the LED strips. But it comes with a problem. When you dim the strips, it's pulse width modulation, where there's little tiny spikes to interrupt the brightness of the light. It kills HF if your HF antenna is anywhere near. So either run them all the way. But here we go. Look at this one. This one has some missing elements, but it was cheap. I got it like $8 direct from China. That's why I encourage you, go with a group that knows what they're selling and will guarantee it. So here we go. That is the electroluminescent strip in the middle that is just above the white part of the van. And there's a new LED strip on the van, and it's now going on 2 years, and so far moisture has not hurt it. During the day, you don't even know it's there. So nighttime, bingo, there you see it on the van. And those are a couple of, if you look on the van, I've got a couple of interrupted spots. That's on purpose because I had some other wiring in the area. And then you see the base station for field day with the little red LED strips. But they give out plenty of light. But the big thing is, it's got to be submersible waterproof, because if it is not, out in the sun, in about 6 months, it's going to crack the outside. Okay, you got the waterproof one. You feel good. You're ready to roll. It's got a 3M backing on the back. Boy, you're ready to stick it on. So you lift up that little tab and, whoa, what the heck's going on here? The sticky stuff is still on the left side. It needs to be on the right side on the LED strip itself. This happens a lot. So you got to be a little careful. Don't send it back. It's recoverable. You need to put back the strip. You need to expose the sticky part and make sure that it sticks on where it should be, and that is on the LED strip, not the little panel on the back. So stick that little mama down, then very carefully go ahead and start to apply this to a good clean surface. And gosh, we've had ours up for quite some time, and it's not failed yet. But I still don't trust that strip. So what I do is I take a little bit of marine. It's called marine seal. It dries flexible, and I put just a couple of dots all along the way it goes on the van, and you're ready to roll. This is what happens if you don't use a little added stickum. It begins to bow in different spots in the heat. So a little marine seal, and that will lie absolutely flat. So all sorts of uses for the LED strips. A whole reel will draw just under 1.5 amps at 12 volts DC. Here on the quadcopters, they're drawing just a couple of 100 milliamps, and it's not real bright, not as bright as what's on the van. But again, that's where you get it. But you've got to tell them what you're going to do with it so that Kim and Roger at Wired Co. or Wired Communications can make sure and get you the right strip. Because even though the strips look the same, each one is a little bit different. And this one, for instance, is not submersible waterproof. And who knows, I may even replace some of the areas here where the lights have died out. But those were imported. They didn't come from the main man. So that's all about light, emitting diodes. And again, if you have the dimmer, that's not a resistor dimmer, that is a pulse width modulated dimmer, and it's going to create a lot of noise on HF, and you don't want a lot of noise on HF. Hey, it's been a good time at the HamFest. Take a look at the sign behind me. That's a wood sign. That's put together by our friends at Crosswood, Crosswood. They say that Ham Nation viewers that watch the show that want their own homebrew wood sign with their call letters or the name of your ham radio club, get a hold of them, and www.cross-wood.com, and they can make up a nice wood sign specifically for you. Isn't it neat? The mom and pops that get into ham radio. So Don, back to you. And again, I can't say enough great words about LDG, and those that are looking to get an LDG, guess what? DX Engineering has it in their catalog with all of the different models, including the brand new model that is designed for remote. You put it up at the feed point, it's submersible. No, it's not submersible. It's waterproof, and it also feeds the voltage up through the coax. So neat things coming. Don, over to you.
Well, they're probably going to have a submersible one pretty soon for your submarine, because you being a mariner, it's only a matter of time before the Gordon West U-boat hits the surf. I want to talk to you about websites now. And this particular episode of Ham Nation is brought to you by Hover. Now, building your online brand is extremely important. Think about all the millions and millions of websites out there. Yours has to stand out, and it's got to stand out among all of the other ones. And that all comes down to your domain name. And buying a domain name for your passion is the first and biggest step to building your personal brand online. Because that's what it is. It's your personal brand. And keeping your domain name separate from hosting gives you the flexibility to choose the right platform for your business. Nobody wants to be stuck with a solution that doesn't meet their needs. And everybody needs a domain name. Feels like everybody has one, so it's most important, like I said, that yours stands out. And Hover has over 400 domain extensions to choose from, so your options feel limitless. The latest one that is really cool is .me. The .me is a unique extension to use for your personal portfolio. It's a great way to stand out from the generic .com or .net websites floating around. So you could have your call sign .me. So I could have AE5DW.me, and that'd be kind of cool. So if you're sending a resume to potential employers, you can use a .me to showcase what you're all about. So I could have DonWilbanks.me, or it's a great way to set yourself apart. The .me domain name. I like that a lot. What does Hover offer? Well, Hover offers best-in-class customer support team, no upsells, clean and simple user experience and interface, personalized email that matches your domain to further support your online identity. And the Hover Connect feature allows you to connect your domain name to many website builders with just a few simple clicks. Very, very cool stuff. Become your own best advocate. The .me domains are on sale for this month only at Hover for $9.99. That is 33% off your first year. And if you've never used Hover before, you can get an additional 10% off any of the domain extensions offered. Visit hover.com/twit and check out the deals. It's time to get your portfolio website up and running. Hover.com/twit. And we thank Hover for their support of Ham Nation. Let's check out the news of the week now from Amateur Radio Newsline. From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2157, these are the Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, March 6, 2019. If you're thinking of attending CPAC, the ARRL Northwestern Division Convention, the earlier you register, the better.
Early bird registration prices are in effect now through the 15th of April for hams who sign up online. Early bird registrants are being given a bonus entry into prize drawings as well. CPAC is taking place May 31st through June 2nd at the Seaside Convention Center in Seaside, Oregon. Workshops and social gatherings will cover an array of topics, some of them on newsworthy events and others on cutting-edge technology. The Saturday DX Lunch will offer a talk on last year's Norfolk Island DXpedition, and the Saturday evening banquet will feature Jerry Ellsworth, AI6TK, as the keynote speaker. Seminar topics will include the CW way of life, why Morse matters in an FT8 world, legal issues, remote-controlled radios, and an introduction to digital amateur television. ARRL President Rick Roderick, K5UR, plans to attend along with CEO Howard Mickle, WB2ITX, and Bob Enderbitson, NQ1R. For additional details about the Pacific Northwest Gathering, visit the website cpac.org. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Kevin Trotman, N5PRE.
Can you go back to school without actually going to school? You can, if you're a ham.
If you've ever wished you could attend MIT, you now have your chance. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology's Radio Society is making a series of programs about radio available online through the school's independent activities period. The Radio Society is W1MX, MIT's amateur radio club, and it is arranged for 9 lectures to be made available on YouTube. These are intense courses, just what you'd expect from MIT, and cover such subjects as software-defined radio, propagation, radio astronomy, and radio history for starters. If you want to attend, virtually of course, visit the website at w1mx.mit.edu/IAP-2019. Best of all, you can do this at your leisure, so you don't have to worry about oversleeping the start of the class, or even cramming for finals. You're already part of a fraternity of radio, so why not go to class, too? For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jim Dameron, N8TMW.
Nominations are now being accepted for the 2019 Bill Pasternak WA6ITF Amateur Radio Newsline Young Ham of the Year Award. Since 1986, we've searched for and honored the best and brightest young amateur radio operators we could find. The criteria is pretty simple. Do something amazing with amateur radio to make the world a better place and/or further the state-of-the-art of amateur radio. Past winners have been honored for public service, such as serving as net control for severe weather and wildfire nets, manning a hurricane shelter and keeping everyone safe as the roof was blown off. Technical achievements, such as launching the aluminum tube containing an acceptance letter from MIT to nearly 100,000 feet with a balloon containing a hand-built APRS tracker and GoPro camera, and documenting it all for an amazing YouTube video, to working with astronauts in Houston on how to conduct school contacts from orbit, and many other amazing things. The list of achievements is as varied as the young hams who've been honored. This year, in an effort to streamline the nomination process, we're accepting only emailed nomination packets. Everything you need to know is online at our website, arnewsline.org. Click on the YHOTY tab. Nominations run from March 1st through midnight Eastern Time on May 31st, and we'll gather at the Huntsville Hamfest in Alabama August 18th to present the award. We would love to see you there. And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news for 4 decades and counting at arnewsline.org. With Kevin Trotman, N5PRE, Jim Dameron, N8TMW, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe. I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW. 7-3. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. Now here's the solar update with Dr. Tamitha Skov, WX6SWW.
We are calming down from a solar storm that has managed to bring aurora to many parts of the world. And we've got several bright regions on the Earth-facing disk. How will these affect you? Those stories and more in the news this week. We are calming down from the biggest solar storm we've had in months, and considering its near solar minimum, that's saying quite a bit. We had some gorgeous aurora over many parts of the world, and it even made it down into the United States. As we switch to our front side sun, you can see that coronal hole that rotated through the Earth strike zone, and along with a solar storm, it kind of intensified the effects. So we've actually had some decent storming over the past few days. Now, as things begin to calm down, we do still have a single bright region on the Earth-facing disk, but we do have also a couple hot spots that have been developing over the last couple days. Now, they're not flare producing, but we are watching them closely. As we switch to our backside sun, you can see that big bright region that's rotating through Stereo's view right now, but it doesn't look like there's a lot behind it. So if things continue as they are, it does look like space weather is going to begin to quiet down. Switching to your solar storm conditions. Now, for the most part, things are finally getting back into the green after this waning solar storm has passed through. We do have still a chance for active conditions with about a 20% chance of a minor storm at high latitudes, but that's not really going to last all that long. At mid-latitudes, we're really looking at unsettled conditions with only about a 15% chance of active conditions sporadically, but things are definitely continuing to calm down, and we should get back to quiet conditions by about the weekend. Switching to your solar flare and particle radiation storm outlook over the coming week, everything is still in the green when it comes to solar flares, and this should make you GPS users very happy. Now, we do have multiple bright spots on the Earth-facing disk right now, but none of them are strong enough to be considered sunspots, so the sun is still considered to be spotless right now. Luckily, though, it is boosting the solar flux into the low 70s. This is nice for amateur radio and shortwave radio responders. You should be getting some decent dayside propagation right now, especially as that solar storm continues to wane, so enjoy it. Now, also because we are near solar minimum, we are getting a higher impingement of cosmic rays than we normally should have, and therefore you frequent flyers, and this does include you aircrew who travel over 800 hours annually and fly at high altitudes and high latitudes, you guys are at the moderate range for radiation dose, and this does include prenatal passengers, so please take this in consideration in your flight plans. So the space weather this week is finally beginning to calm down. We had that massive coronal hole that rotated through the Earth strike zone, and along with that solar storm that was launched to the west of us, it managed to bring aurora to many parts of the world. But things should continue to begin to calm down and probably get back to quiet conditions right around the weekend. Now, on top of that, we do have some bright regions on the Earth-facing disk right now. A couple of those regions have been growing quite rapidly. Now, they're not flare active, but we are watching them. Meanwhile, they've managed to boost the solar flux and keep it up into the 70s, which means we have marginal radio propagation on the Earth's day side for you amateur radio operators and emergency responders. So enjoy that, because these conditions could easily last through this week and possibly through the next week after that. Now, as far as you GPS users are concerned, well, now that the aurora is kind of waning, things should be getting better on the Earth's night side. And because Earth's day side looks pretty good for you, well, things should be looking pretty good as far as GPS reception all the way around. I'm Tamitha Skov. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Dr. T. Appreciate you being part of the Newsline team as well. Always good information. If you're not, I say it every week, if you're not following her on Twitter, there's something wrong with you. I don't want you in the house. Follow her on Twitter at Tamitha Skov. She'll give you up to the second sometimes information on what's going on with the big bright ball up in the sky. Dale's coming up in a little bit. George has Smoke and Solder next, right after this from ICOM.
Create your own band opening with the IC9700. ICOM's newest SDR transceiver, the IC9700, is coming soon. This new radio is bringing direct sampling to the UHF-VHF weak signal world. The IC9700 all-mode transceiver is loaded with innovative features, such as dedicated amateur satellite operation, color touchscreen, built-in D-Star capability, RF direct sampling on 2 meters and 70 centimeter bands, dual independent receivers capable of full duplex operation as well as dual watch, 100 watts maximum output power on 2 meters, 75 watts max on 70 centimeters, and 10 watts max on 1.2 gigahertz. Visit icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on all the great ICOM radios. Attention all hams. ICOM knows that ham clubs play a big role in bringing ham communities together to learn from their peers and industry leaders. As a way to give back and help you on your mission, ICOM has launched a promotion exclusively for U.S. ham clubs and the ham fest they're involved with. By registering your club, you could win ICOM swag, a Skype presentation for your club, or your ham fest, an ICOM booth setup. Register today for your chance to win at icomamerica.com/hams. And you can tune out and enter to win after each episode of Ham Nation. Go to icomamerica.com/hamnation and register to win some great swag prizes like T-shirts and hats weekly. Plus, you'll be entered in the monthly grand prize drawing for a new radio. And we've got a winner for February. We were giving away the ID 4100A entry-level D-Star mobile rig with big rig features. The winner, Mark WO7T. Congratulations, Mark. You're going to enjoy that rig. I've got one of those myself, and let me say, they have really stepped it up quite a bit with that one. For next month, though, or actually for this month, for March, the ICOM ID51A plus 2 VHF UHF D-Star portable. It's got built-in GPS, D-Star and FM repeater search function, extended D-Star coverage, DV fast data mode, terminal mode, access point mode. There's a free Android app available, and a lot more. So go to icomamerica.com/HamNation after this and each episode of Ham Nation and register to win. Sign up, good luck, and don't forget to follow ICOM America Inc. on Facebook and Twitter. And tonight, we're bringing out a project here I built a few years back with the help of my friend Mike, VE3MIC, who you see in the chat room a lot. I haven't seen him in here tonight, so he may be there and just hadn't said anything yet. This is the Scope Squid. Today we're going to build a little project with the help of our friend Mike, VE3MIC, who got the parts together and did the research for it. It's called the Scope Squid. Now, a lot of people call this an octopus, but Mike thought we should call it a squid because it looks more like a squid to him. To start with, we've got our box with the lid, and Mike has made a nice little label here to go on the front of it. What he did was took a piece of, I guess, self-adhesive paper, printed all the layout on it, all the decals, and then he laminated it with a clear sheet of MacTech. And we've got two BNC connectors on here, one to go to the vertical and one of the horizontal inputs of our oscilloscope. And we've got a place for two test probes, and we've got a couple of test leads here to go with it. What we'll do is hook a component across here, and then we can look on the scope and determine what that component is and some of the properties of it. Now, I've got several pieces of cable here I've already tinned and got ready to go. These are actually RG174, which is probably not necessary to have shielded cables on this, but Mike had a little piece and he stuck it in the package, so that's what we're using. I've stripped them back, tinned them, and I've taken a little piece of the jacket, slipped over the shields there. You could have used heat shrink tubing for that, but I'll often use a piece of the jacket because it's good enough and it's pretty heavy. And we've got a transformer here that was really made to be mounted on a printed circuit board. So Mike got kind of creative with that. We needed some way to mount it in the box here where it wasn't going to rattle around. He took a little piece of PC board and trimmed it to where it will fit the slots inside the box here just perfectly, and that'll hold the transformer in place. Plus, it'll give us a way to get connections to it. And to make the traces on here, what he did is took a little drill bit and a Dremel tool, and he routed the traces onto the board here. And he said it went amazingly easy. Good idea on that one. I mean, you wouldn't want to do any surface mount work with this kind of technique, but should work good for this case right here. Let's take a look at the schematic now. It's pretty simple. We've got a transformer here that puts out 6.3 volts. This one has two secondaries on it. We'll only need one of them. And we've got a 500 milliamp fuse. It's a pico fuse that we're going to use here just for safety. We come out of the secondary of the transformer through a 560 ohm resistor. Then we're going to have a 100 ohm resistor that goes from a junction right there down to the horizontal input, which is the other side of the transformer. And then we've got two 2.2Ks that are in parallel with each other, connected from the line here, which is also on the vertical input of the scope, to ground. Our red terminal will be right here on one side of the transformer, and our black terminal will actually be ground. And then these resistors just act as voltage dividers. Now let's put this together. It ought to go pretty simple, and then we'll have a look at it with the scope. To give us more time to play with this device, I've put it together here so that we wouldn't spend a lot of time soldering. You can see I've got the resistors mounted on the little piece of perf board here. All the wires connect to it. I've got a wire that goes over the transformer. There's the pico fuse right there. And here's 120 volts AC coming in. I'll take the transformer and slip it into the case. Now I'll slide the little perf board into its slot. And I've cut a notch here for the cable to go through to the banana plugs. Let's make sure that all our pieces of coax fit down in there good. Let's take a look at our Scope Squid in action now. I've got it connected to my Rigol DS1054 oscilloscope. I've got it connected to the first two inputs of the scope here. This particular scope has 4 different inputs. There's no horizontal input though. You can select one of the regular 4 inputs here as being horizontal, and that's what we'll do. We've got the 2 outputs of the Scope Squid connected. We've got our 2 test leads sitting here for our component to be tested. And I've selected the XY mode on my scope here. Now, this scope is one of the newer digital scopes, and it allows us to do some measurements and see some things that we couldn't normally all see at once. Like right here, we're seeing just a regular oscilloscope type display. We can see the sine wave there of the 60 hertz signal of the Scope Squid. That's the voltage. That's on channel 1 here. Okay, so yellow is voltage. The blue here is going to be the current that's connected on channel 2. You can see right now our leads are open, so we've got maximum voltage and we have no current. If we short them together, now we can see that our voltage just dropped and we've got current flowing. That's not triggering on it, but that's okay. We also notice down here on the XY scale, when our test leads are open, we've got a straight horizontal line indicating voltage. When we short the leads, we've got a straight vertical line indicating maximum current flow. So let's test a few components now. We'll start out with a resistor. Here is a 1K ohm resistor. Actually, there's 4 of them, and I just didn't want to take them off the tape reel there. All right, you'll see a slope here. That's because we've got some current flow and some voltage. If you look here, you can see that the current and the voltage are basically in phase with each other and about the same value there. Now let's put a 10K ohm on here, and we'll see a very slight shift in it. That's because there's not nearly as much current flowing on a 10K ohm resistor here. As you can see up here, the voltage is still quite high, and the current is just flowing a little bit. Let's move on now and check some diodes. On our first diode here, we can see that we've got an L-shaped pattern here. This is our voltage. Once we reach a certain point, the diode turns on and it goes high. That's current flow. You can see it right here. The blue current flows. As the waveform swings positive, we can see the current start to flow and the voltage is held down. As it swings negative, we can see that the current stops and the voltage is allowed to swing negative, but when it swings positive again, it's limited and we have current flow. So let's turn on our cursor now so that we can actually look at the voltage here. We'll go down to XY mode on it, and this is not something that you'll have on an analog oscilloscope. That's okay though. It's not something you normally need. It's just a convenience. We can see right here the AX cursor or marker there is 400 millivolts. That's where this diode turns on, at 400 millivolts. Let's go to the larger diode. Well, we can see it's turning on at a much lower voltage. If we roll our cursor down there, we'll see that one turns on around 80 millivolts. So, difference in the two diodes. But typically, what you're going to see when you've got a diode is this L-shaped pattern. Let's look at some capacitors now. Here's a 0.01 microfarad. We can see the beginnings of a Lysergis pattern there, a little bit of an oval. And you'll notice on the current, there's a slight twist in the current trace there. And the reason we don't have any more current than we do, and we've only got a slight oval there, is because a 0.01 microfarad capacitor doesn't conduct much at 60 cycles. So let's go on up here. Here's a 2.2 microfarad. Let's see what it looks like. Here we've got a nice circular Lysergis pattern, and it's easy for us to see the phase shift between the voltage and the current that the capacitor is introducing. Now let's move on up to a 47 microfarad and see what we've got. Okay, now you'll notice that the Lysergis pattern is shifted vertically. You can tell it's a Lysergis pattern though. We've got the slight ovaling there. But what's happened up here is our voltage is kind of flattened out and the current is peaked up pretty high. That's because a 47 microfarad capacitor is going to conduct pretty good at 60 hertz. So that's what you would expect to see with some capacitors. Now it's going to vary depending on the frequency, but our Scope Squid works at 60 hertz. Let's take a look at some transistors. Here's a little 2N2222. We'll measure from the base to the emitter. And I can see I've got the little L-shaped pattern here, like I had with the diode. That's what we'd expect. If we measure from the base to the collector, we've also got the little L-shaped pattern. So that's typically what you would see with the transistor. If I try to measure between the emitter and the collector on here, I don't have anything. Let's check some other ones. There's some larger transistors here. This is a 2N3055, a fairly popular transistor. It's base, emitter, and then the case is a collector. So we'll clip our lead here to the base. If we measure to the emitter, we see we've got that L-shaped pattern. If we measure down here to the collector, we've also got the L-shaped pattern. So that's telling me that this transistor is good. Now I just happen to have another 2N3055 that obviously must have been in the same project as this one because I'd put some insulation on the legs of both of those. So we measure from the base to the collector, and we've got our familiar L-shaped pattern, so we'd say, yeah, this is looking good. But now let's measure from the base to the emitter. Uh-oh, it's shorted. You notice the current's at maximum here and the voltage is virtually flat there. I wish I had a Zener diode that I could show you, but I don't have any. But there you go, a simple little component tester, the Scope Squid. While we really didn't zoom in and take a critical look at the voltages here, we were able to determine if our components were good and what the various type of components should look like. The Scope Squid, a handy little project. If you Google, you'll find just hundreds of schematics on different variations of this thing. Yeah, and Google for Octopus and Scope, and that's what the original projects were called. But it's a handy device. You can use it for troubleshooting, comparing components, or just for learning, because by using an oscilloscope with this device right here, it's pretty easy to see current flow versus voltage and the phase relationships. Really interesting stuff and kind of sheds new lights on things. This is a curve tracer. That's really what you would call it. So Octopus curve tracer. That should turn up lots of results on it. Randy is collecting photos and descriptions of your projects again, so he can put together another Show Us Your Project video coming up in the near future. So send Randy your photos, no videos, of what you're building, soldering, wrenching, or drilling to Randy at k7age@outlook.com, and you could be in a future episode of Show Us Your Project. And now back after being away for a few weeks, our old buddy out in Kansas, where I'm sure it's nice and toasty out there tonight, Dale. Hi, Dale.
Hi there, George. It tried to be toasty today for the first time in about, almost a week now. I'll tell you what, we got up to about 45 around there today in the Wichita area. But, man, the wind chill in the morning here on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, was right about -1, -6. It was cold out. A lot of snow on the ground. We had some snow on Sunday. Then it all ended. But that's how it goes in the wintertime in Kansas. Although we're getting real close to spring, and it can't get here too soon. Tonight, we've got 2 videos for you. We've got a few photos also, quite a few, actually. We're going to kick things off with a video from this year's Winter Field Day. It comes from Tom. He's KC0VII. He braved the freezing Iowa weather and put together this video with his XYL. She's KD0TLD. So put on a warm winter sweater out there now, and we'll sit back and watch this video together. Go ahead there, Victor.
This is KD0TLJ.
Okay, it's up to 3 degrees now here in Austin.
Heat wave.
We drove up here in a kind of a snow squall, it seemed like. We're up here in Austin. We're going to be helping out at the WA0AZR. I'm so cold I can't even talk. The Austin Area Amateur Radio Club's up here. We're going to help out a little bit. Looks like Vince has got some of the equipment going. We're just going to check inside and see how it's going. Pan the camera around. I don't know how much you can see. He's got a dipole set up there. A little sign. So why don't we get inside there before we both come down from cold weather, okay?
Yes.
I'll be shooting some video off and on. See you in a bit.
Bye.
Okay, Vince stepped out here to get something to eat before we start today. This is his digital setup. Little computer, power supply, antenna tuner, his radio rig blaster, it looks like. Vince likes to do a lot with the FT8 and all the other digital programs. Vince is working on setting up another antenna. Kind of try to get some of his dipole. And Carl, WA0AZR showed up. Yeah. He's putting together all his antennas on his truck, and he's going to operate from out there. What are you going to operate on?
I'm going to go to 40.
40 meters? Okay.
40.
And the snow keeps coming for light flurries. Well, it was pretty cold in that garage. I can't believe how cold my feet got when I was off that road.
Yes, if you got off the mat, it was like really cold.
Even though it was a heated garage, that cement was pretty cold. Like I said, when we left, Vince and Carl were setting a couple more antennas, and we got something to eat and came home. We're going to try to do some contacts here from the comfort of the house. It is now 8?
Yeah, about 8 degrees.
8 degrees above
Still
zero.
really cold.
It's just, and then when it stopped snowing here finally, you probably got an inch and a half, but it's still pretty cold out there. We're going to work in here for a little bit and see what we can do, and we'll probably try to see some more contacts? Or?
Yeah, try to contact us on the radio.
Yes. Okay.
With the amount of background noise we've seen today during the Winter Field Day, it was really hard to try to pull some of the contacts out. It was a typical deal where the signal would be coming nice and strong, and then it would just slowly fade away into the background, and a couple of minutes later, it'd be right back up high again. Kind of like a wave action. I always think of it as trying to explain to TLJ one time about it. So that it's kind of like a wave. He starts out high, then it goes down to almost nothing, then it'll pop back up to high. So you just got to learn how to follow that rhythm of it. So she's trying her best, and she's making a lot of good progress. Both of us are trying to pull out some of these call signs in the poor conditions. The signal was just getting down in the mud. It was pretty hard to copy it. One thing we've learned to do over the past few months is one would try to listen to the radio and write down call signs, and the other one would be on the computer typing in the QRZ, trying to match up the information that the person is giving us and what we're seeing on QRZ. And the big thing is make sure you're switched off so one person is not doing the same deal. Kind of eliminate the fatigue.
Okay, we got this.
That was a hard one.
That was a hard one.
Each time he give his call sign, he'd go in the mud.
Yep.
After logging the call in the software and a little celebration dance, we go right back and start listening to the calls and try to pull another one.
There, it's not on, but it's. Oh, shit.
One problem with big feet. I don't know if you can see it down there. She keeps hitting the power splice button. She's about ready to make a contact. All of a sudden the radio goes dead.
Not a good thing.
Okay, well, she was working pretty much all afternoon on the radio. You got some contacts.
I think I had 5 or 6, so
Yeah,
that's not too bad. We heard quite a few other ones, but it was just a little noisy to try to get in. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic out there, but the noise is quite high today. But no, she was doing a lot of good. Yes, little girl. Somebody had to come up here. Thank you. Say hi to everybody. We're gonna take a little break here, get some supper, and she's gonna get back on the radio. Probably after that, the sun will go down here in North Iowa. So kind of maybe 40 meters will kick up a little better, or maybe 20 meters will come back to life. But we'll close out of this video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to tell your friends and neighbors and other hams to like and share.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tom. We appreciate you braving the January winter weather in Iowa to bring that video. -8 degrees. That is cold. Okay. We've received quite a few photos since our last video segment. I'm going to show them to you right here, I think. I'm going to start off with a set of photos from Paul. He's N4DME. First, here's Smokey. That's the family cat boycotting the Stevens County Amateur Radio Club net. Well, Paul's daughter, Kelly, she's KM4YIW, was calling the 2-meter net. Kelly worked her first 15-meter pileup on field day in 2015. She worked 25 stations. This young lady has inspired 12 local youngsters ranging in age from 8 to 16 to get their ham license. That is a good thing. Okay, well, KF3BH has sent us some photos also. That's Stephen. He was first licensed in 1982 as a novice. His shack today includes an ICOM 7410 and an ICON IC910H and a Yaesu FT920. He also uses ICOM IC2730A radio for APRS in the shack and an IC2720H with APRS droid in his pickup for mobile APRS work. Our third set of photos comes from the San Francisco Radio Club. They operated Winter Field Day from Fort Funston. I'll tell you what, that looks a lot warmer there than it did there in Iowa. That fort is located in the southwest area of San Francisco. It's right near the Pacific Ocean. The club was surprised during the operation by visitors from Cal Poly University down at San Luis Obispo. The students all wore bright red Cal Poly Amateur Radio Club t-shirts, and then many of them operated the San Francisco Radio Club stations. The main operating position was equipped with an ICOM IC7200 and a Palstar tuner. There was also an Elcraft radio in use. The antenna was a coax-fed dipole supported by bushes on each end. The rising students were in the, visiting students rather, were in the Bay Area for a field trip to the TV transmitter facilities and the Sutro Tower that's in the Dean Center. They were the guest of Eric, KD7DNM. He's the vice president and COO at Sutro Tower. They visited the Winter Field Day site before heading back to San Luis Obispo, thanks to Dave, WA6UHA, for sending in these photos of Winter Day 2019, a bit warmer there in San Francisco. Well, Phil, who's now N7BUP, sent us 2 shack photos. The first one you're looking at now was taken around 1966 when he was in high school, and his call was Whiskey Alpha 8 Kilo Bravo Delta. The shack in his parents' basement contained a Heathkit Seneca transmitter and a National NC 125, along with an AMECO 6-meter converter feeding a 4-element 6-meter beam on the roof about 30 feet up. Fast forward to today, Phil, who just got back on HF last December after 8 years off the air, uses an ICOM 7300 and a portable vertical antenna that he deploys in the backyard when he goes on the air. He takes the antenna down when he goes QRT so that he doesn't run afoul of his HOA. He also has several HTs. Well, finally, we close out our photo segment with a nice shack photo from Mark. He's WW4DX. You'll find him in Hickory, North Carolina. He uses mainly Yaesu HF gear. That includes an FTDX 5000 MP and an FT991 Alpha. All microphones in the shack are Heil. They include a PR40, PR77D, and a Pro 7 headset. He runs an OM Power OM2500 HF amplifier and uses a Palstar AT4K Transmatch. His antennas, including Force 12 Yagi and several dipoles, are mounted on a 125-foot Ron tower. Well, that's it for the photo watch. Remember to send your shack photos to HamNationVideos, all one word, at twit.tv. We'll get them on Ham Nation for you. Finally, this evening, we've got a nice road trip video from Jason. He's a 20-year-old college youngster. His call sign is KR7JAS. Jason traveled with his dad. That's Keith. He's KR7RK. They made a trip from Tucson all the way over to Houston, where they visited Keith's mom. Along the way, they activated many soda sites. That's Summit on the Air. And they had a great time combining ham radio and the great outdoors. Here's Jason's video.
Hey there, this is Kilo Romeo 7 Julia Alpha Sierra. I'm going to share a little bit about a recent soda trip I took with my dad Keith, who's also an active soda activator. But before I do that, I wanted to thank Dale, Kilo Zero Hotel Yuma Delta, for sharing my segment. If you've never taken a ham radio road trip, it's something I highly recommend trying at least once. My dad Keith and I are active in the Summits on the Air community for the Arizona W7A region, and we'd had a chance to knock a few places out, such as the Winding Stair Mountains in Oklahoma, that's W50, and Rich Mountain in W5A, Arkansas. So then when we decided to take a road trip through the southwestern part of the country, we weren't sure exactly what to expect. Now, obviously, if you've participated in a Summits on the Air activation, you'll know that to a certain extent you need to plan well. And if you don't plan out the route, the schedule, and the packing, then things might not always go the way you planned. So we planned our route and designated 6 spots that we were interested in checking out within reasonable distance of the freeway on our way east. And over the course of the trip, some of them worked, some of them didn't. Still had an amazing trip, had a lot of fun. But came to realize that often unexpected obstacles will come in the way. In the end, the peaks we visited, for those of you interested, were the Victoria Mountains, the Tortugas Mountains, as well as Sierra de Cristo Rey, all in New Mexico, and in Texas, South Franklin Mountain, as well as the Davis Mountain 6411, which you can see us activating in this video clip here. Now, as we entered Houston, we hit some pretty heavy rain. Unfortunately, faced a little bit of bad weather with some ice over in El Paso. Now, here we are ascending Sierra de Cristo Rey, which is Whiskey 5 November stroke Papa 010. And this peak stood out from quite a few of the other peaks I've activated. I gotta say, I need to give a shout out to the chasers who encouraged their friends to get on the air and gave me a spot. The thing about radio is some people question, well, why the heck would you want to talk to someone that you'll never meet in real life? And that's almost exactly why. If it weren't for radio, most of these guys I most likely would have never interacted with or met in real life. So it put me out of my normal zone and introduced me to people in the community that have similar interests. This peak really opened my eyes, had a beautiful view of the border wall with Mexico and Ciudad Juarez on the south, and then El Paso and the border of New Mexico on the north. Quite a few people advise caution while hiking this route with warnings of robbery and, you know, potential danger on this route as it's so close to the border. But I think that this was one of the most beautiful peaks I've activated because I'm able to see the city where the people I'm talking to. In fact, one of the gentlemen happened to be a couple miles away from where I was, and I think this peak really made our trip, and I'm just amazed and grateful that I could have gotten the points. And it's not about the points. I got out there and it was freezing, but this peak was amazing, and it's definitely an experience I'll never forget.
Well, thanks, Jason. We appreciate you very much taking the time to edit down your outstanding travel video. We know you've been busy there at college. Our Ham Nation audience appreciates it. Jason shortened the video that he had put up on YouTube before. He removed the music for our amateur TV stations, and he provided narration for our audio-only podcast listeners. Well, thanks again, Jason. Great job, and good luck in the rest of your semester there in college. Well, that's it for this third Ham Nation video segment of 2019. Hopefully, we'll receive a few more great videos from you so that we can feature them for the audience on March 27th. That would be 3 weeks from tonight. Remember, we're dependent on you, the Ham Nation viewer, to send your shack photos and your videos to us. If you have questions about producing a video, please do send us an email. We'll be glad to help. Just address it to HamNationVideos at twi.tv. Well, it's time to wrap Ham Nation up for the evening just about. We're going to shoot it down to Don now and let him tie the ribbons on it. Don, good evening again.
Good to see you here, Dale. It's been a while. Nice to have you back on tonight. We do not have the ladies on tonight because, well, Amanda, she's under the weather. She actually has no voice, but she has been manning the chat room, so she's been in there playing with you guys. And Val was supposed to be on tonight. We were going to try to talk to her. Actually, no, she's on a cruise and was supposed to be active from Grand Cayman, but the captain aborted the landing on Grand Cayman because they had 4 to 8 foot swells. And he said, no, it's too dangerous, so we're not going to do that. So she's not going to be activating Grand Cayman, unfortunately. So we'll try to see what she's got up her sleeve coming up next week or week after next time we talk to her. But we wish Amanda all the best. Hope you get to feeling better. And it's been a good show tonight. I've had some good stuff. I was particularly impressed by the AMECO stuff. That's neat. I don't think I've heard of those, but I've never seen one. And it's neat to see a kit like that coming back, and something that is affordable, and you can build your own little CW transmitter. That is just the coolest thing ever. I really like that. So let's kind of go around the horn and see if there are any final comments from the folks before I tell you about where all the nets are tonight. So, George, any further words from you tonight?
No, Don, I would just say keep your soldering iron clean and ready to come on at any time, because you never know when you're going to need to melt some solder and build something. And I encourage you, do it now, because when the summer gets here, you may not have as much bench time as you do right now. So that's it from me.
Well, yeah, keeping it clean. That's good advice no matter what you're talking about. Gordon, what's going on with you tonight? Final words.
Well, we're having fun with all the LED strings. We had a question, and that is, when does the auction for the Kenwood TS890 and the full handbook set. When does that begin with ARISS, the Amateur Radio Space Shuttle? Well, that begins on April 8th. So you have about a month to get ready. And it's not really a contest. It's an auction to generate money for future International Space Station ham radio stations. So keep your LED dry. Actually, the LED strips can be submerged. But electroluminescence, yeah, this stuff has to stay bone dry. There you go, Don, and we hope you have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next week. Gordo, WB6NOA. Don?
Thank you, sir. And Dale, any parting shots from you up in Kansas?
Not a whole lot, Don. Glad to be back tonight. We're hoping we do get another couple of videos in. I know we do have one in the queue from Dan, N9LBS, about how to build a light, on-the-air light for your shack. We're going to work that in one of these days. We're still looking for more, and we need more shack photos to put on the air. Anything you have that highlights what you've been doing on amateur radio out there, we'd be glad to show the Ham Nation audience. And we're going to have a heat wave tomorrow up in Kansas, supposed to get to 55, and that's going to feel a lot better than -6. So that's about it. Don, thanks. Thanks to everyone out there, and we'll hopefully see you in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, good stuff. We were in the upper 70s to near 80 for a few days, and then this morning it was 30. So we're not sure what we're doing, and that's odd. I mean, you know, when you think about it, I'm 50 miles from the Gulf of Mexico. Being 30 is a little bit strange. It's 44. I know 41 outside right now, and supposed to be up into the mid to upper 50s, I think, tomorrow. So maybe a slight warming trend. It was sunny today, though. Absolutely gorgeous. I want to remind you that the nominating period for the Amateur Radio Newsline Young Ham of the Year Award is now open. arnewsline.org, of course, is our website, and click on the YHOTY tab, and you'll see the nominating form there. Something new this year, we are only accepting electronic nominations, only email this year, because some of those packets that were being mailed to us were literally dozens of pages long, and it was just a huge ordeal to get those to all of the judges. So we're doing everything via email this year, and everything you need to know is right there on that nomination form. You can see the link right there in blue, 2019 Young Ham of the Year nomination form in the middle of that page. You click on that, and it will bring up the nomination form for you to download and fill out and do with as you wish. And, of course, we'll award that in August at the Huntsville, Alabama Ham Fest. And they have got a brand-new website, hamfest.org. Check it out. Looks nice. Mark, you guys did a good job on that. Seriously good-looking website. That's my favorite Ham Fest. I love Huntsville. Say about the Nets tonight, D-Star. There you go. Boy, doesn't that look sharp. Man, that looks good. You know, the other Ham Fest, I mean, the other website wasn't a slouch at all, but it had been that way for years and years and years, and I like the update. Very nice. I especially like the countdown timer up there for days and hours and minutes and seconds. Good stuff. Go to Huntsville. If you haven't gone to the Huntsville Ham Fest, you need to. It's one of easily the top 5 Ham Fests in the country. Okay, Nets tonight. D-Star, 14 Charlie. The DMR on TAC 311, our 40-meter net on 7192, and 80-meter net on 3906. And thanks to all of our after-show net controllers who volunteer their time to do that for us. And for you, we appreciate them. We appreciate you. We appreciate Twit. We appreciate our sponsors. And we're in love with ham radio here. That's all there is to it. So for Bob and everybody else associated with Ham Nation, we'll wish you a good night, and we'll see you again next Wednesday night. Rain Ham Fest in South Louisiana is coming up on Saturday. So hope to see some of you guys there. That's the one with the crawfish boil. Not going to make that because that's Friday night, but good Ham Fest in Rain, Louisiana. Just looked it up. RAYNE, Rain Ham Fest, and you'll see everything you need to see. So good night, everybody, from all of us here at Ham Nation. We'll see you next Wednesday. 73.
73.